Amazing wisdom.
Entrepreneurs,
business leaders,
Success.
CEOs,
Amazing success.
around the world.
This is the Success Nuggets podcast. Have you ever wondered what you could learn and how inspired you'd be if you asked incredible people from around the world about the patterns that drive progress? Get ready to dive into a world of insights and inspiration. This is the Success Nuggets podcast with the founder of the Digital Light Bulb and your host, David Abel.
Today on the Success Nuggets, we're joined by Sir Tim Johnson, the visionary CEO and founder of Health in Tech, a NASDAQ limited insurtech company on a mission to revolutionize healthcare. Hello, Tim.
Hello, David. Good to meet you.
Great to have you on. I want to talk about all things that are visionary, innovative, and purpose-led, yes. But just for the audience out there to set the scene, what is insurtech?
People are probably familiar with financial tech or fintech. These industries that are some of the largest in the world, right? Financial institutions, large institutions that have, trillions of dollars in it. Insurance is the same thing, right? There's trillions of dollars, whether you're buying homeowners or buying health insurance for your employees, very large institutions. And then insurtech on the health side, because we typically break up between property and casualty and health. Insurtech on the health side is non-existent. That's the reason why I really got into it. I always looked for, I'm a builder by nature. I like to build things. And when I accidentally fell into this particular industry, somebody asked me to go do something for them. And I saw that it was so messed up and they were years behind all the other industries, even their own industry on the health side. The P&C industry was doing all sorts of cool things. The health side was doing none of it. And I thought, well, I can fix that. So I got into it and I started very small. It was just me on my couch. And that's how I got started.
When you get going, though, and you find you're onto something, then words like disruptive come about. Now, disruptive can seem bad. It seems cool. But yours is a force for good, right? Your disruption.
Yeah, we're trying to improve the lives of individuals, the employees of all these employers who don't understand their healthcare, don't know who to talk to, and don't know where to go. So we're creating a system, an ecosystem. I know that term sometimes gets overused, but in our ecosystem, it's one place where you can go for everything. And that includes everybody in that healthcare chain of events. By that, I mean, from the consumer or the end user of it, they have to go to the doctor, to their employer where they're getting it, to their broker who sold it to them, to the physician who is treating the patient, to the insurance companies who are providing all of it, to the reinsurers, and ultimately the hospitals and everybody. So everybody has a need for data and information. Even if you can try to figure out where to go get it, it's not easily accessible. In my system, all of those people in that healthcare chain of events have access to that data through us. And I'll share all the information that's applicable to them to do their job better and more efficiently.
Yeah, right. I think that's the transparency thing where we do things. Champion the small businesses as well. Since COVID, so many more people have gone freelance or smaller and less corporate. Are you champion in the small guy as well?
Yeah, we are. When I got into it, I had a healthcare event I was very disappointed in. And there has to be a better way. And that kind of helped lead me down this path. But what I found very quickly was that the small employer in the U.S. they had no options. There may be one in their state where they can go and get health insurance. That's it. So what I'm really trying to do is give them more options and the transparency of what it means. Even their own claims data, if they had their data, maybe they could do something to help improve the health of their employee base. Just something little like that is a big deal.
Yeah. When we talk about data, I've got an iPhone and it was like 2 years ago, someone inspired me and I just started doing 10,000 steps every day. I've been watching it, and when I got between 9,700 and 9,900, I knew there was maybe 8 days a month I could close the gap. This guy got me, and here I am 2 years later, almost every day, 10,000 steps. That's some good data. How far can we go?
Oh, well, that's a great question, because that concept of understanding yourself, right? What is good for me? Because not everybody can do 10,000 steps a month, let alone a week, whether it's physical capabilities or whether it's time or something, but they need to do something. So we have an app, High Card app, and we are now really getting into wearables, not just the step wearable, right? That's just one. But the wearables that are FDA approved, where your physician can actually use the data, can see the data real time. So we created a company. This is where we're going with this. We're going to create a company where we manage all the data, and the data comes into us, and we have triggers. And we know that maybe you're a diabetic, maybe you're overweight, maybe you're underweight, whatever the situation is, the data that comes in that's applicable to you needs to be read and fed back to you in a way that you can use it, because not everybody's the same. Everybody's an individual. Maybe my blood pressure is normal at a higher level than it is down here, and that's okay. But maybe for some people it's not. And that's what we're trying to do, is give something that I can use, this full life care, but you get it on your phone, because that's what everybody's carrying today. And that's what we're trying to do, is really create a at-home doctor, if you will, through the phone.
No, I like that. I've seen some tragedies in my time, and I think that home doctor could have prevented, whether it was oxygen level or, like you say, sugar levels, blood pressure. Is there any way we're going to ever be able to just connect this with our doctor so they can almost see, and, the hospital get something and there's not a surprise?
That's the intent, right? So when you sign up on our site, we get your doctor, we get your hospital, your preferred doctors and hospitals. If those triggers happen, we get noticed immediately, and we call you first to see if you're okay, if you're still awake, what your condition is. And then we call and set up the physicians, the EMTs, and everything dependent upon the severity of the issue, right? So we feed that data right to your doctor so that he can immediately act on it, because some of these things like your watch and some of that stuff, it's not FDA approved. So the doctor, even though he looked at it, he can't use it. He's going to come in and rerun those same tests. Not with our systems. Our systems are FDA approved, and our systems will allow that doctor to act immediately on it. Could be on the way to the hospital, right? Because I have a story. I like stories, but they really stick with me. And a friend of mine, his father had a stroke, and it was a minor stroke. He was close to the hospital. He got treated. And then the likelihood of him having another one is way up. So sure enough, 2 weeks after he's out of the hospital, he had a stroke. It was starting to have it. He pulled over, thank goodness. But the EMT got there in traffic. He was a long ways. If the EMT knew that he was taking that medication, or that he had just had a stroke, he could have treated them and saved him. And he didn't save him. It was a long ride back, and he ended up passing away. But something along those lines, that story really stuck with me, because if that EMT could have reacted on that data, because he didn't have it, if he could have, it could have saved his life. So that's what we're trying to do.
How or what strategies do you put into place to foster this innovation?
I have a lot of ideas, and I don't know where all this creativity comes from. I like to solve problems, and I like to build things. And I've had this entire concept. I wrote a paper on it in 2019, and it's challenging because capital. You have to have capital, a lot of it, because I'm competing out there with a lot of people, and it takes a lot of money to build the technology, and you got to get the right people. So there's a combination of capital, hiring the right people with the same vision, and that people can see it. I struggle a lot of times because it's easy for me to explain it, thinking that everybody can see my vision, but they don't. So I got to keep going over it. And my strategy is just to find people with a like mind that want to build something like this. So it's not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving into some more obscure stuff. I was talking to you about undiagnosed ADHD, and a lot of people are going to struggle with this more with screen time. Is there any metrics we can track for ADHD? Like, I've got all those millions of ideas, so many just get put down. I'm constantly on the hunt of the dopamine, I guess. It's exhausting. I'm happy and sad a number of times a day. What can we track or do with that?
There's apps, there's different things. So the mental health is what you're really talking about in some of these things. I know that there's the physical component here, but a lot of people go through these mood swings and different things during the day. That is a big deal today, and how it gets tracked. What do you do? I'm not a big proponent of just throwing drugs at situations. I think that compounds the issue. My daughter, unfortunately, has some issues that we're trying to get through without taking the medication. Similar to what you're talking about, because I'm working really hard at finding a solution. There's a section within my app that we use that's called the forum. The forum is going to be where ideas and suggestions and people like yourself, when you're on and we have you as a member, you'll be able to go in there and start the chat, because you're not the only one who has thought about it. You're not the only one that has the issue. But where can you go today to actually have a conversation? And in that conversation, you will have doctors, you will have people from all over the world looking at this information. And it's, I will tell you, here's a really good story. Talk about blood pressure. There is no compilation of blood pressure data. In other words, you don't have data that's collected anywhere in the world where you can go and say, we've tested 10,000 people, just 10,000 people, and what their blood pressure does during the day and why does it do it. Similar to this, our first one is on blood pressure, because one of the wearables that we're working with, that is a big deal. I mean, 50% of the country has a problem with, cardiovascular system, and they don't even know it. Most of them don't. So we're trying to figure out, how do we track that? And where do we go find that data? We're going to compile that data in a central place, not where we can just Google, right? This is very specific to the specific issue that you're talking about, and there'll be a forum for that. And I hope a lot of good things come out of that, because there's no central spot where all that data is collected, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. You're a healthy guy. I drink coffee in moderation. You're promoting health. I don't know if you drink tea, coffee, and caffeine.
I'm a coffee drinker, yeah.
Okay. So someone put on LinkedIn this the other day. The guy who says he needs caffeine tablets to get through the day gets frowned upon by the same people who say, hey, who wants a coffee? Or they sit down at their desk and say, I need a coffee. I found it quite provocative, but I thought, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I am a contrarian by nature. I don't do anything too extreme, right? Nothing. I do a little bit of things because I think I get a cup of coffee in the morning and it makes me feel okay. Some of the people who I think need a caffeine tablet, I don't think it's any different than sugar or some of the other things, a little of it to help you get through the day. That's what I think about it. I don't think caffeine's a bad thing. Anything too extreme can be, but I think, and again, getting back to our conversation, I think everybody's different. I think if you moderate yourself on some of this, it's not bad. I don't really, everybody says, well, caffeine's a drug. Well, everything you consume is a drug if we're going to start looking at things like that. So I don't have a problem with that guy.
No, dopamine's a bad drug as well sometimes. Your job, high pressure, having to raise funds all the time, blood pressure must be here, there, and everywhere. For anyone out there, whether they're in your shoes or in just a very simple job, how would you give permission for failure?
I have failed so much. That's a great question. I will tell you, it was just me started on my couch. I did that job for 4 or 5 years before I could even afford to hire somebody. And I was building and building, and I made so many mistakes. I think that the self-reflection that people don't do, or I have a lot of unique things that I've come up with for myself. So the biggest lie we tell is the lie we tell ourselves. I don't know if somebody said that before, but it rings true for me. You can't lie to yourself. All right. I do self-reflection on myself every day, making sure that I'm doing the right things at the right time to have the right outcomes. And I can't lie to myself. I didn't have the time nor the money to lie to myself. So I had to tell myself and be truthful with myself, which was very hard, to get used to it. But now I'm used to it. So getting back to the stress, I paid very close attention to my body and my feelings. I can tell you when I was getting stressful, and I was not one of these people who would say that meditation, maybe it's voodoo. My thought pattern has changed a lot over the years. I meditate. I will sit, and I don't know if it's the right way people say they meditate, but I will calm myself down. When my blood pressure gets going and I'm doing 50 things at a time, I actually have little things in my eyes that are like stars and if a doctor listens to this, he's going to say, I need to go see a doctor, but I can tell when my blood pressure is that high. So I'll go and meditate and just sit outside. And what I like to listen to nature. And that's how I get over it. Until I feel better, I will not get up from that chair because I'm just getting right back in the boiling point.
It's amazing what all can do. Once you finally get back in the present, I might have broken this down actually, if you want to hear it, into about 5 days.
I do.
In terms of having just a moment, taking a break, okay?
Yep.
You can have a digital detox, which we call technology time, which for most people, they can't do 48 hours like a weekend. They just got to, between 5 and 8 o'clock, set some boundaries.
Yep.
Then you've got decompression when you're just that stressed, you just can't do it. Perhaps you've had some bad news and at 2 o'clock that day, you're just like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We'll give 100%, but only 40% of the time in those moments. Then living in the present has to be taking a break. I've been for many walks where I've zoomed up the road and come back from feeling great. But maybe the first 10 minutes I've been like, stupid, so that living in the present, then creating or just taking a full reset. A full reset says my life no longer serves me, everything around here, I'm not listening to my heart. Or we go on to the next thing, the great reset where we turn all the electricity off, which is now coming in. I think they're the levels of taking a break, unless you can enhance that in any way.
Yeah, I haven't taken the full reset, but you're right. If you think about the 5 steps that you're just talking about, I've been through all of them. I like to camp. I can get away where you don't use cellular, internet, nothing. And I pull my trailer out there and I'm just sitting out there in the mountains and taking it all in and listening to it. I do find I'm gone maybe a week, probably not much more than that, but just that week. And I come back, you will find that your mind is working better. You're thinking more clearly and you feel better about it. But recognizing when you have to take that break is the challenge, because I will get so deep into it, I can't pull away for whatever reason. I'm just lying to myself. And then I have to reset and say, I'm just going to get away for a week. Nothing's going to die on me. I'm all good. I'm just going to go. Yeah.
Ah, nice. That's a really nice way to do it. It was Novak Djokovic who inspired me, who said, actually, your rest is the most important part of all of this. Yes, you've got the training before the tournament, a lot of hard work. Then the excitement of the tournament. We've all been there with our personal goals where this is the moment. Yeah. I rest. People either go and party or get stuck straight in, and it's just the decompression of everything. I think that's one of the secrets to staying on top.
It's coincidence. I am sitting here. I am taking a few days off. I'm going to do business in Athens. I'm in Switzerland right now. And I'm sitting here at one of my favorite spots overlooking out this window. There's a lake here that is so peaceful because the mountains, the Alps are right behind it. And I can just sit there, stare at that out on the bench on that lake, watching the ducks. And yeah, I can do that all day, and it really makes me feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of people who inspire you, I know you talk at the World Economic Forum in Davos and must be on other stages, and obviously being NASDAQ listed is a lot. How do you find the humans out there and the kind of things you pick up from these places?
I find it in the strangest places. It doesn't necessarily mean they're successful at a job. It doesn't necessarily mean sports. I like to look at people. I travel a lot, so I watch people, and these random acts of kindness that I see inspire me a lot to be a better person, to do better things. And if you pay attention, you can see them in people. Kindness in people sometimes it's hard to find, but you got to interact. And when you find those people, those unknown qualities and those unknown people are what inspire me the most. Successful people, that's awesome that they are, and I love their personalities, but I find that the randomness of it has more of an effect on me than watching all these people do all these great things. I don't know why. That's just the way I am.
Yeah, no. I'm drawn to more unique characters that have got that depth, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's been a real fun having you on. As we close the show, we ask people if they've got a one golden nugget for life. I don't know if you've come across that sort of term before, or do you have a one golden nugget?
Well, I had an old boss one time tell me this: don't confuse effort with success, young man, is what he told me, because I was. And I will tell you, I've applied that nugget to just about everything I do in life. And don't confuse hard work with being successful, because they're not the same. You can work really hard and still not be successful, but don't confuse yourself or lie to yourself about it. So that's my one golden nugget.
It's the end of another episode. So Tim Johnson has been a wonderful guest. And as he says, get out there, go and look for kindness. It is there because you will become a better person. So Tim, thank you so much.
David, it's great to meet you.
Join David and his incredible guests next time on the Success Nuggets podcast. And to find out more, visit onegoldennugget.com. Thank you for listening.